can think of few things more scary than suddenly finding your home in the middle of an active war zone, struggling to find a way to keep you and your family safe while knowing that at literally any moment you could die. This is the reality for hundreds of thousands of families in the Gaza Strip right now. But a recent ceasefire agreement between the United States, Israel, and Gaza might give refugees the hope they need. I know that all seems pretty heavy, but take a deep breath and get ready to enjoy another episode of Don't Panic. I'm Ceasefire. Welcome to the most random, echoey spot I could find to film. Today, we're covering the recent ceasefire agreement and the possible release of hostages by Hamas. Woo! I'm allowed to be excited about that, right? Because even if you're like pro-Palestine or pro-Israel, we're all pro like being a hostage must suck, let's get those poor people home. We also have to talk about all the wins the Democratic Party just scored. Does it mean they have the 2024 election in the bag? Will Republicans have to stop being so anti-abortion in order to get more people in their party elected? And finally, we'll end with our good news. The first ever full eye transplant was just completed. This is like a huge step forward in transplant medicine. But like my first reaction was actually like, wait, we've never done that before? That's kind of disappointing. It's a sweet story, but first, Israel has just come to an agreement with the United States where they will stop all war activities in certain areas for 4 hours every day, after giving the area 3 hours of warning. Why? Okay, so according to Gallant, which is Israel's Minister of Defense, why is that the picture that comes up? Look at the other pictures of this band. Why are we stuck with this one? That's like so bad it could be like a male dating profile picture. Okay, I know it's hard to take the guy seriously, but the lives of millions of people rest in his poorly lit face, so we gotta try, okay? Anyways, he said that the ceasefires are to allow citizens to flee. We're carrying out specific moves to allow the exit of Palestinian civilians from Gaza City to the south to avoid hurting them. I think he meant hurt them more, because food, water, and medical supplies are already restricted in Gaza. I don't know about you guys, but I'm, kind of partial to those things. This is on top of Israel blockading fuel. According to the UN Relief and Works Agency, 1.5 million people have had to flee their homes after Israel started attacking the territory. So Israel's been doing this whole ceasefire thing for quite some time, but now it's official. Now we know they're gonna be doing them every day like this. Also, if you remember, we touched on the Rafah crossing last time. You can check out my previous video if you want more information about that. So it has been open and over 100 trucks with humanitarian aid have gone into Gaza. Nationals from other countries have been using the crossing to get out. Now on to Hamas's hostages. Okay, so the US has been trying to get Israel and Hamas to make a deal to release some or all of the hostages. Some of these talks took place in Qatar, whose flag looks like a transition scene from Mario Wonder. So Mossad, which is like Israel's CIA, and then the CIA, which is like America's CIA, and Qatar's prime minister all met on the 11th to discuss a deal. Why Qatar? Well, several key members of Hamas live there, and Qatar's government meets with them to try to get deals to work. Remember when you were like 10 and you weren't talking to your best friend, so you told your mutual friend to talk to him to tell him that like he had your sweater or something like that? That's kind of what's going on here.
Why don't you just go and talk to him yourself? Ronald would like me to tell you that Seamus told him that Dean was told by Pavati that Hagrid's looking for you.
Is that right? Well, what?
So this whole war thing is really sucking for Gaza, and as far as I can tell, the US... Sorry, my brain just like... couldn't handle the amount of people involved in this mess. Okay. So according to a Reuters source, the US told Israel, hey guys, listen, maybe if you stopped warring for a couple of days, Hamas might release like 10 or 15 of your hostages. And so far, Israel has been like, we will not cease the fire or stop fighting as long as we have hostages in Gaza. And as long as we haven't completed our mission, which is to destroy Hamas and dismantle its military and governance capabilities. Seems like talking them out of this one might not work. Still, maybe a complete ceasefire isn't needed. Kirby told reporters that the ceasefires might be useful in getting all 239 hostages back. Wait, That's the Kirby you guys were imagining? John Kirby, the United States National Security Coordinator for Strategic Communications. Anyways, included in those hostages are less than 10 American citizens. Less than 10? Do we not know how many there are? So far, the outcome of the talks is unclear, according to Reuters. Focusing back in on the US now, the Republicans just had their third presidential debate, and we're not really going to be covering it, mostly because it doesn't matter. Unless something crazy happens, it seems pretty clear that Trump is going to be the Republican nominee again, despite not showing up to any of the debates. Does he have a shot at winning? I mean, people seem pretty convinced that Biden is going to be the Democratic candidate, and he's like pretty unpopular right now. According to a recent poll by Reuters and Ipsos, what is that? According to a Reuters Ipsos poll, only 39% of Americans said that they approved of his performance as a president. For some context of just how bad that is, Cars 2 is only slightly more disliked with a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And professionalism to this competition. Someone give me water.
But there may be some hope for the Democratic Party. They just won big in Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. There was a common theme in all of these wins. All of the victors pushed the issue of abortion hard. Let's start with Virginia. It's just one of 4 states that held elections this year, and it's seen as a pretty good indicator of what voters want in the upcoming presidential election. Therefore, both parties had a lot riding on this, and they spent a ton of money and effort trying to get their people elected. Access to abortion was a focal point for both parties. In the end, Democrats won big time, taking complete control of the General Assembly. This was a big blow to Virginia's Republican governor, who had promised to ban abortion after 15 weeks if the GOP could take control of the legislature. Voters in Ohio were even more explicit about wanting access to abortion when they actually approved a constitutional amendment guaranteeing it. Finally, in Kentucky, a Democratic governor won, even though people were trying to link him with Biden, who again is pretty unpopular.
What you got here that's free? How about that pistachio ice cream?
No, wasabi.
Oh, same old, same old. What's up with you?
Once again, his win was viewed as a model for other Democrats to follow in order to get elected next year. And once again, a big part of his campaign had to do with abortion. He promised to make exceptions to his state's near total abortion ban. Even Vice President Kamala Harris have hinted at making abortion a central part of Democrats' campaign strategies next year. So will Republicans try to shift away from talking about abortion or even reverse their stance to try to get elected? I don't know, but oh boy, would that be fun to see. Listen, I know before that I said that abortion should be completely banned after 1 week, but I really thought about it. Now I get it. Some of you need to remove the fetus so it can die sad and alone. But I understand women have a right to choose what happens to their bodies. So while you will all definitely still burn in hell, legally speaking, I see no issues here. On to the good news. Aaron James just became the first person to have a full eye transplant successfully completed on him. Cornea transplants have been done countless times, but this was a whole different beast. This 46-year-old man from Arkansas's story first begins with a terrible accident. While working on power lines, his face accidentally touched the wire. The left side of his face and arm were horribly injured. He had to get his arm amputated and his left eye had to be removed. Luckily, he had the love and support of his wife and daughter. Then he was given an amazing opportunity by Dr. Rodriguez. The chance to become the first person to not just receive a partial face transplant, but a full eye transplant as well. The NYU surgery took a mind-blowing 40 surgeons. 140 and 21 hours? Whoa. It was successfully completed. Yay! According to CNN, Aaron's wife described looking into her husband's face for the first time after the surgery like this. It was a crazy, great, weird, strange, ecstatic, happy feeling. I was just happy he made it through. and everything was good in the moment. Aaron can't see out of the transplant eye at the moment. He's thrilled just the same, and it's a big step forward in transplant medicine. That's all the news I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe and comment. It helps the channel keep moving forward. Thank you all so much. To allow the exit of Palestinian Palestinians. Come on.